You've had that moment before, right? You know, when a conversation you had hours or even days ago just won't leave your mind? You're replaying it over and over, thinking about what you should have said, or wondering why the other person responded the way they did. It's like your brain gets stuck in a loop, and it's tough to break out of it. But why do we do this? Is it just because we're anxious or overthinking, or is there something deeper at play? Let's dive into it and explore why we replay conversations in our heads and what it means for our thoughts, emotions, and even our mental health. First off, let's talk about the brain. You know how your brain is always processing things, right? Well, it turns out that replaying conversations is actually a natural part of how your brain works. You're not crazy or overly dramatic. Your brain is just trying to make sense of things. When we have an intense or meaningful conversation, our brains go into overdrive trying to process the emotions, words, and context. This is especially true if the conversation involves something important or unresolved. In those cases, your brain keeps replaying the conversation in an attempt to figure out what just happened, like it's trying to tie up loose ends. Now, let's be real. Anxiety plays a huge role in this as well. If you've ever had a conversation that left you feeling uncertain or awkward, your mind will probably spin it over and over to try and find answers. You'll think things like, what if I said the wrong thing? What if they think I'm weird? What if I offended them? It's that feeling of self-doubt creeping in. And even though you might not have said anything wrong, your brain still wants to replay the conversation to find that perfect response you should have given, just to calm your nerves. And then there are the emotions. Emotions are sticky. When you're emotionally charged after a conversation, whether it's excitement, frustration, or sadness, those emotions lock in the memory. And when emotions are involved, your brain keeps replaying the conversation to either relive that high or process the low. Let's say you had a heated argument with a friend, or maybe someone gave you a compliment that really made you feel good. Those feelings stick with you, and your brain feels the need to go over the conversation again. It's almost like your brain is trying to hold on to the emotional moment, whether it's positive or negative. Another big reason we replay conversations is because there are unresolved issues or unanswered questions. Have you ever left a conversation and thought, wait, what did they mean by that? Or, why didn't they explain more? That's your brain trying to fill in the gaps. It doesn't like loose ends, so it replays the conversation, trying to come up with more answers or a better explanation. It's like your brain wants closure, even if that closure isn't actually available yet. If you're a perfectionist, you might find yourself replaying conversations because you feel like you didn't perform to your standards. You know that feeling of, I could have said that better, or why didn't I think of that response sooner? Perfectionists often overanalyze past conversations because they believe every word they say should be perfect. And when it's not, it sticks with them, making the conversation loop in their minds over and over again. Lastly, let's talk about empathy. If you're the kind of person who really cares about others' feelings, you might replay conversations because you're worried about how the other person felt. You might wonder if you hurt them, or if they left the conversation feeling bad. Your empathy makes you replay the conversation to ensure you didn't cause any harm, to check if they're okay, or to find a way to make things right if something went wrong. It's a way of making sure everyone is emotionally okay after the interaction. Okay, so now we know why we replay conversations, but how do we break the cycle? The first step is to recognize that your brain is just trying to process things. Instead of fighting the replay, acknowledge it. Then, try to shift your focus to the present moment. Distract yourself with a different activity, or if it's an unresolved issue, take concrete steps to address it, like sending a message or having another conversation. You can also practice mindfulness and grounding techniques. Focus on your breathing or engage in something that brings you joy, like listening to music, going for a walk, or watching something funny to reset your mind. At the end of the day, replaying conversations is just part of being human. Our minds love to make sense of everything, but we also need to give ourselves permission to let go sometimes. No conversation is perfect, and that's okay. What matters is that you learn, grow,